Good day. We're going to report about the muscular system. The muscular tissue of the body constitutes from 1/3 to 1/2 of the body mass of the average vertebrate. Muscle tissue is a complex structure with bundles of long strands of muscle cells known as fibers, sheeted in a thick band of connective tissues known as a perimysium. Here's how the structure of the skeletal muscles looks like. There are two types of muscle fibers. The first one is type 1. Type 1 muscle fibers, also known as slow-twitch muscle fibers, are dense with capillaries and rich in mitochondria and myoglobin, which makes them very resistant to fatigue. They also have the least potential for growth and power output. Next is type 2 fibers, also known as fast-twitch muscle fibers, which grows faster than type 1 fibers and contract faster as well, which gives them a higher strength and potential power. The downside, however, is they fatigue much faster, making them less suited to endurance activities. Now, various muscles in our body have varying amounts of type 1 and type 2 fibers, and there's an ongoing debate about what determines the distribution. Why do some people's bodies have more type 1 muscle fibers than type 2 and vice versa? Well, genetics are the most likely culprit because studies suggest it's unlikely that we can convert one type of muscle fiber into another through training. That is, there's no significant difference in the proportion of type 1 and type 2 muscle fibers between untrained and resistant trained individuals. That said, there is evidence that weightlifting can change the physiology of type 2 muscle fibers, causing it to shift from what's known as type X to type A fiber. There's also evidence that muscle fiber types are affected differently by different types of resistance training. High rep, low load training appears to preferentially stimulate type 1 muscle fiber and low rep, high load type 2.
Muscle mass development. For any individual with a goal to increase their body weight, the key is to aim to increase lean body mass or muscle mass rather than the fat mass through a combination of the right type of training and the correct nutritional intake. Physical activity burns up energy. If you're not eating enough food, the body uses up its stores, fat and muscle, to keep it going. Sometimes, these requirements might be above and beyond your appetite and it becomes difficult to consume. The sheer volume of food needed to replace what is being used up, let alone the extra that is needed for muscle growth. Timing and transporting of food can be hard when there is so much to be eaten. Being organized is the key. Muscle tissue comprised of approximately 70% of water, 22% of protein, about 8% fatty acid, and glycogen. The key to gaining muscle mass is ensuring energy intake is greater than energy expenditure, and this means consuming nutritious food and supplements at frequent times throughout the day.
Achieve increased calorie intake by supplementing meals with quality nutritional supplements, eating larger portions at mealtime, to eat more frequently, and eat more high-calorie foods. A protein requirement of 1.5 to 2.0 grams per kilogram when attempting to add lean body mass. Consider a reduction in aerobic training. So the main reasons that some individuals find difficult to increase muscle mass are they consume insufficient energy intake, or consume an inadequate number of meals and snacks during the course of the day, train excessively or expend energy used in other activities such as physical sports or other sports. They are physically immature and are yet to reach adolescence, or they use inappropriate training practices or employ inadequate rest and recovery between sessions. So there are three primary ways to stimulate muscle growth. First is progressive tension overload, which refers to increasing tension levels in the muscle fibers over time. The most effective way to do this is to progressively increase the amount of weight you're lifting over time. The muscle damage, it refers to just that actual damage caused to the muscle fibers by high levels of tension. This damage necessitates repair, and if the body provided with proper nutrition and rest, it will adapt the muscle fibers to better deal with future stimuli. Lastly, cellular fatigue, which refers to pushing muscle fibers to their metabolic limits through the repetition of actions to muscular failure.
Important steps for bulking up. Step 1. Effective weight training program tailored to individual requirements. In some, the level of aerobic training may need to be reduced. Step 2. Increase energy intake. Don't skip meals, snack on high carbohydrates, low fat food between meals, drink plenty of nutritious or high energy fluid. If feeding too full, decrease the intake of fiber. Step 3. Balancing protein, fat, and carbohydrate. Carbohydrates are most important. Your body will use up muscle protein if intake of carbohydrate is too low. Include one protein food at each meal. But remember, protein will automatically increase with extra food intake. Step 4. Monitoring progress. Gaining weight is not easy. Expect gains of about 0.25 kilograms to 0.5 kilograms per week. Rapid gains will usually mean a gain in undesirable body fat. General tips for developing muscle mass also include the following. Follow a well-planned resistance training program that is suitable for individuals' age, physical maturity, training history, and individual needs.
A muscular strength. Muscular strength is your ability to exert a maximal force using maximum or near maximum resistance during a limited repetitions. When focusing on strength improvements, you are generally working to increase your power and muscle mass, with gains in muscular endurance being secondary. A muscular strength is much different from muscular endurance. Strength is a measure of how much force your muscles can exert, while endurance is a measure of how many times your muscles can repeat a specific exertion of force. Unlike muscular endurance, which is controlled by slow twitch fibers, strength is determined by fast twitch fibers, which focus more on quick bursts of energy rather than long drawn ones. It is a much different procedure when it comes to improving strength. The most widely used method is lifting a weight that is 70% of your maximum 10 to 12 times. You repeat this 3 times with 1 to 5 minute breaks in between sets. Another thing to remember is that you should never repeat strength training on a specific muscle more than once every 48 hours. If you do, you will cause numerous injuries and basically wear the muscle out, so you receive no improvement at all.
Agility or nimbleness is the ability to change the body's position efficiently and requires the integration of isolated movement skills using a combination of balance, coordination, speed, reflexes, strength, and endurance. Agility is the ability to change the direction of the body in an efficient and effective manner, and to achieve this requires a combination of, first, balance. Balance is the ability to maintain equilibrium when stationary or moving through the coordinated actions of our sensory functions. Second is static balance. It is the ability to retain the center of mass above the base of support in a stationary position. Dynamic balance. Dynamic balance is the ability to maintain balance with body movement. Speed. The ability to move all part or part of the body quickly. Strength. It is the ability of a muscle or muscle group to overcome a resistance. And lastly, the coordination. It is the ability to control the movement of a body in a cooperation with the body's sensory functions. In sports, agility is often defined in terms of an individual sport, due to it being an integration of many components, each used differently. Shepard and Young defined agility as a rapid full body movement with change of velocity or direction in response to a stimulus.